Vignettes with Reddit, yam/ama, I am a lexical gustatory synesthete. I taste words. Ask me anything. Are there words that taste the same as what they are? For example, maybe salt tastes just like salt. Not really, most of them are pretty random. The closest to that would probably be sample, which tastes like summer sausage. This one likely came from those Hickory Farms kiosks in the mall around the holidays that always gave out samples, although sample tastes like summer sausage in all contexts, not just the food type. Have you ever read The Phantom Tollbooth? There's a part where the main character visits the city of Dictionopolis, where people eat words and letters. I wonder if you'd agree with the descriptions of what different words taste like there. I read that book to my daughter a few years ago and I remember that scene but didn't notice if the flavors aligned. I'll have to go back to it and check and see. I love the movie adaptation of this as a kid. Have you ever experienced a taste associated with a word that you've never experienced through eating? Like, have you ever eaten something and been like, oh, that's what X tastes like? I'm just thinking that if a person has grapheme color synesthesia, they experienced pretty much every color from a very early age, but you're experiencing new tastes much further down the road. Thanks for doing this. The only time I noticed that's happened was the first time I ate nori when I was in high school. I realized that dragon tastes like seaweed. Do homonyms have the same or different tastes? Does it matter if they're spelled the same or not? Like, spelled the same, pronounced the same, lie, to lie down, versus lie, to not tell the truth, row, a type of boat, the action of propelling a boat with paddles, versus row, things in a line, bow, a fancy no made of string or ribbon, versus bow, a weapon that shoots arrows, pronounced the same, spelled different, bear/bear, where/where. Flower/flower, base/base, pronounced different, spelled the same, bow, to bend at the waist, usually after a performance, versus bow, a fancy no made of string or ribbon, tear, liquid expelled from the eye, versus tear, to rip fabric or paper, bass, a fish, versus bass, a low note. Generally, all types of homophones and homonyms that have a taste will have different tastes, but they'll all have something. I can't think of an instance where one of a pair has a taste and the other doesn't. Those are a bunch of examples you gave, and I will happily get into more specific tastes in a little while. I just finished dinner, so that's all I'm tasting right now. Let me know what specific words you'd like to know about. Smile. You mentioned that the word manager tastes like tires to you. How do you know what tires taste like, assuming that you've never eaten a tire before? Also, do you sometimes feel the taste of something that you've never eaten/tasted before, and sometime later you discover what's the thing that the word tastes like? Well, a large part of tasting comes from smelling, so you know what tire stores smell like. Like a specific type of rubber, that's what tires taste like. The only time I've noticed that a word tasted like something I didn't know yet and then discovered was that dragon tastes like seaweed. I didn't know what that flavor was until I was in high school and tried nori for the first time. Every time Op reads manager in these comments, they taste tires, haha. We are making Op face the gross taste skeptical. I've never tasted tires, but I can practically imagine what they taste like. Hey, another synesthete. I'm a chromesthete and auditory tactile synesthete. I see colors as a sound and feel them as a texture/temperature. How much does speaking another language affect the flavor of a word? Will naranja taste the same as orange? Will the word orange referring to the fruit taste different than the word orange when it refers to a color? I've always been intrigued by other types of synesthetes and their experiences. Sometimes context matters, and different definitions of a word will taste differently, but not always. Usually either they will all have a taste or none will. I can't think of any examples where one form will have a flavor and another doesn't. The only other language besides English that has any tasteful words to me is Spanish, and I'm not entirely sure if that's because the Spanish words have a taste or that my brain translates them to English and that's why they also taste like stuff. Do certain tastes help you remember certain words? Have you tried learning other languages, and if so, what is that like for you? It doesn't really work the opposite way, like, Even though words have a taste to me, if I eat something that is the flavor of one of my words, does this not pull the word to the forefront of my brain? Like, bus tastes like applesauce, but I can eat applesauce without thinking of buses. I've dabbled in several foreign languages and none of them bring up any of my synesthesia except for some Spanish words, the language I studied for the longest time and starting the earliest, and I honestly don't know if the Spanish words also have a taste or I get the taste because my brain translates them to English. Have you tried learning a new language? If so, did the tastes translate? I've taken many years of Spanish, and dabbled in German, French, Italian, and Japanese. I started taking Spanish when I was an elementary schooler and didn't really get into the others until I was older. Some of my stronger tasting words are triggered in Spanish as well, but I'm not sure if that's because the Spanish word has the same taste or because my brain translates it to English and that's what precipitates the taste. Apologies if this has been asked. When you are reading a book, can the tastes be overwhelming? I imagine that reading a lot of words together could be pretty nasty. Do certain words taste better together? Normally when I'm reading or something like that, there are often consecutive tastes that happen but they don't really blend, if that makes sense. It's just kind of one after another. It doesn't get overwhelming most of the time because it is just sort of sensory background noise more than anything, and also because reading words conjures a less strong flavor level than hearing them spoken aloud by someone else. The tastes of the words don't really blend together at all, so I can't really create cool flavor combos like you can with Jelly Bellies or anything like that. Smile. Do names of countries have tastes? If so, what does Germany, my favorite country, taste like? Does America taste different from United States? What does Poland, Estonia, Finland, Russia, Britain, Japan, Italy, and Indonesia taste like? Also, what does Manhattan, borough of New York City, taste like? Countries and cities don't have any more frequent tastes than any other words. However, of your list, Germany has no taste. America tastes like cheese and crackers. United States does not have a taste. Poland tastes like biscuits. Estonia and Finland have no taste. Russia tastes like ham. Britain tastes like peanut butter. Japan tastes like chicken broth. Italy tastes like water. Indonesia has no taste. Manhattan tastes like mashed potatoes in that context. What are some words you avoid because you find them distasteful? Lol. And what synonyms do you prefer? Sorry in advance for inviting you to experience a gross flavor. Maybe you can spell them out in Pig Latin or something? I don't really find the need to avoid words that don't taste good because the tastes don't linger, and while they are noticeable if I try to notice them, they're not really obtrusive, if that makes sense. This is so fascinating. Are you able to satiate cravings by saying certain words? For example, if you were craving chocolate, would saying a word that tastes like chocolate satisfy that craving? I wish it did, but it usually just makes the craving worse. While the tastes are fairly pronounced and authentic, they are ultimately hollow and fleeting, so if it's a yummy taste, it just makes me want it more. Does it ever get annoying if I'm in a meeting or watching a show that is heavily featuring one of my more prominent tastes? It can get kind of annoying. But I feel like this is one of the least obtrusive forms of synesthesia out there as far as interfering with your daily life, so it's not usually too bad. When you're conversing with someone, do you just have a burst of consecutive flavors in your mouth? If so, does it ever distract you from the conversation? The string of consecutive flavors does happen, but it's not really distracting most of the time. The word tastes have just kind of always been around for me, so it's really just sensory background noise a lot of the time. Sometimes it does get distracting if someone is repeating one of my stronger tasting words over and over again, or if I'm in a period of time where it's amped up. It usually tends to get stronger when something is weird with my body getting sick, stressed out, pregnant, PMSing, etc., but it's never been enough that I had to make the word stop. Also, do any words taste outright disgusting and/or bitter? Does that make you hate when those words are said to you or when you read it? Some do have unpleasant tastes, But it's not usually bad enough to make me want to avoid those words. Like I said in a different reply, manager tastes like tires and shit tastes like soil, and nerve tastes like when you accidentally let a pill start to melt on your tongue, you know. That one isn't really great, either. Sorry, so many questions. Don't apologize, questions is why I did this. Smile. Thank you for watching the video. If you're new, please be sure to subscribe, like and turn on post notifications so you never miss an upload. Post your own stories in the comments down below.